Hello and welcome to a spooky Halloween. I was trying to make vampire fangs out of tissue paper, but it got wet. Welcome to a spooky Halloween special of Moby Dick, chapter 26.
How much cardboard do you have in your mouth, everybody?
For a moment, I thought I was at McDonald's. Look, I had the quad stacker Big Mac the other day. It's one of the worst
I
things
thought
I've
that was a
ever
joke
eaten.
when I saw it. I genuinely
It
thought that
somehow
was a
got less meat in it than a normal basic bitch burger.
Oh, how do they do that?
They just chop it really thin. You get like nanometer thin beef. Nano beef. So yeah, hello, welcome to this new chapter of our lives and of Moby Dick, where we're gonna have a read through, make sure it makes sense to us, explain it so it'll make sense to basically anyone who can speak English. And yeah, that's probably just what we're gonna do today. Dunno, it's a bit of a late one, so we're not gonna party too wild. We might not even finish this chapter. I don't know. I don't want to make any promises. Do you want to make any promises, Andy?
I promise that there's going to be a spooky appearance of the origins of a well-known corporate chain in this chapter. Yes.
Ah! IBM?
Yes. That's right.
International Baleen Murderers.
Nice. Yeah, that's not a lot of people know that's how they started out.
That was before they helped the Nazis.
It was initially just adding machines for how much blubber they had.
So yeah, I suppose traditionally we would go and do a recap of where we've gotten to so far. Would you like to do that, Andy?
Sure. Are we going to take it and can you remember where we've got?
I'm just gonna give you a little quick rundown of where we've been so far. So
spooky amount of time since we did one of these.
It is true. The world has opened up, so my weekends have become occupied by things. So, not that this isn't incredibly important, and I would have been able to do one on Sunday, but me and Emma were very ill with a hangover. So that was
Saturday.
Saturday we gained the hangover. Sunday we had it. And was to it.
I was away too, so no worries.
Okay.
But I'm sorry to hear you've had a bad time.
Kidney still hurt.
Oh shit, that is a bad time.
I think we're probably just ill.
Yeah.
Right, this is a story about a fella called Ishmael who sometimes has a midlife crisis if he's been on land too much, and instead of buying a motorbike or I don't know what else people do on midlife crises, Ishmael, I know what he does. He goes out and starts going apeshit at people and just knocking their hats off. Decides that he has to get on a boat. So he's got himself on a boat. A lot of things happened along the way. He met his best friend and husband, Queequeg the cannibal. It is Queequeg, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've gotten on a boat made out of skeletons. And a lot of bad portents and omens have occurred. So, it's some good, some bad. And I'm sure he's going to have a nice time once they get out to sea. Although he has foreshadowed that his best friend and husband, Queequeg, does drown to death.
Yes, he does say that, which isn't the best start to a voyage.
Also, in a previous chapter, the guy steering the ship might actually already be a ghost. So,
Bulkington.
I vote that we hop in on, if you are new to it, this very good little synopsis? Making the case, I would say, for why people who go out and murder whales are actually some of the best people you could hope to meet. And we'll pick it up, Andy, from chapter 24, and then we'll go on to chapter 25, because you can't just have one and not the other.
I think that makes sense to me.
It's the same argument. So, it's good to have that button back, isn't it? Right. I'll start us out here in chapter 24. I say ye now.
Hang on a second. Chapter 24?
Yeah, I just said we're doing chapters 24 and 25.
Oh, shit, we're doing the recap.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I got confused. I got very confused.
We've only been on air for 7 minutes and Andy's already gotten confused.
My nerves are shot.
This guy.
Halloween.
Whoa, what a slapstick encounter we've just had. Classic Andy. Right.
Okay. Take it away, I guess.
Very tired.
Me too.
Chapter 24. I say ye now. Let me tell ye, lots of people, they don't think whaling is very cool or fashionable, or that whalers are generally very handsome. That's the sort of thing that landlubbers go on about, and I'll tell ye what, matey, ye look around this ship, sorry, that should be a ye. Ye look at salty dogs like me and my burly husband Queequeg, and ye think, wow, now those are some great and powerful and salty guys. But you know what? You wouldn't. You wouldn't say that because you wouldn't see us. We'd be out here on the waves looking for whales, and you'd be in some stupid city on some stupid land, lubbing it up and working a desk job, you pricks.
Nice. You see, whale guys don't carry business cards. You see one of us unlucky enough to be on land for more than 30 seconds, and maybe we've been dragged along to some fancy party, probably because they met someone who was instantly awestruck by how cool whalers are. That person at that party, what are they going to say? Hi, I'm a harpoon guy, and I kill whales for a job. You're going to think they're not a serious professional like ye, or anyone else ye know who writes words or moves papers around for a living. Let me tell ye, ye'd be a fucking idiot to think that, wouldn't ye? The temerity of you people.
Let me break it down for ye, cause I doubt ye'll put much thought into your own prejudices. Ye and ye think that whaling is a bit gross because it's basically being a butcher of the sea. Is that right? Okay, well, first of all, everyone loves a butcher, so make a note of that. You know who else they call butchers? Military guys. And they're always getting loads of people killed and whatnot, processing far more meat than any whaling voyage. And you know what? People bloody love them. Actually, I'm going to add in a despite that. Despite all that, people bloody love them. You get a soldier walking up to that party where everyone's being snooty about a whaler, that soldier's going to have sexy ladies throwing themselves at him. He's been out there hacking men apart, but you confess to hacking a whale's head off, and they'll look at you like you're a monster.
Well, let me tell ye something about monsters, though. Whales. Whales is monsters. You get any average soldier and show him some of that crazy shit that a whale can do. Let me tell ye, that soldier's gonna cack his kecks more in the time it takes for a whale's tail to splash his face than he would have done over the entire course of the Civil War. After all, what are the comprehensible terrors of man compared to the interlinked terrors and wonders of God?
Bonus fact, ye shall soon be initiated into certain facts hitherto pretty generally unknown, so get excited for that one. But, did ye know, whales are actually very clean, and people call whalers dirty? So, I know ye might be reading this and thinking, Ishmael, you've been on that ship for like 5 minutes, could you calm down on calling yourself a whaler and getting involved in all these prejudices and whatnot, you lunatic? And so to ye I say, get yourself on a whaling vessel for longer than I had at this point, and then ye can gatekeep, landlubber.
Here's another feather to put in a whaler's cap. You know shrines? The things where people burn candles and whatnot? Well, where do you think those lamps and candles come from? That's right, it's whales. So really, if ye think about it, Every shrine that exists is in praise of whaling. You just don't stop to think, do ye?
Tell ye what else, there's a lot of money in whaling. Millions of pounds! And if that wasn't enough for you, it's good enough for kings to show an interest in, so why won't ye? Ye think Captain Cook and all those other famous sailors were the first to go and see the things they're famous for seeing? Well, fuck ye for thinking that! It was whalers all along! Whalers, I say! Whalers who wouldn't make anything like top billing on a crew manifest for any of these fancy pants captains that ye like! The real workers never get the appreciation! Ah, the world! Oh, the world!
I shall not be giving evidence, but did you know whalers freed and then established democracy in Peru, Chile, and Bolivia? On the topic of countries, Australia, Polynesia, Japan inhabited? Thank the whalers for that one. Benevolent biscuits all round. If after hearing all this, you still think that whalers are sweaty, gross bastards, then I challenge ye to a joust. Well, I'll unhorse you, knock your helmet off, break lances off into your body until there's no lances left in the tilt yard.
It's the different from whaling to joust. The whale has no famous author, and whaling no famous chronicler, you will say. And to that I reply, hello? And if you're such a whale bigot that you discount my words, well, ye've only got to look at the works of the OG whaling journalist. Yeah, that's right, it's Job, or Job, from the Bible. Whaling's not respectable, you might say. Well, I say whaling's imperial. By Old English statutory law, the whale is declared a royal fish. And I know, and you know that it's not a fish, but the Brits don't, come on.
There are more thoughts he might have about whaling being bad, and thousands more retorts I might have about why it's good. But I think I've made my case, Your Honour, and so while we're here I'll just say, if by some chance you're raiding my office or my house after I'm dead, and you find some fancy big book or work of art or anything else you might think be good, worthy of repute, worth scholars looking at and all that stuff, well, if that happens, don't put my name on it. Just put down the author as whaling.
And that's what we've done. This is Moby Dick for Normal People, or Moby Dick, or The Whale, or Whalers Are Cool, actually, by Herman Melville, John Everyman, and Whaling. So we have given the attribution here that Melville didn't. Quite rude of him, frankly. And this leads us straight into chapter 25.
Just wanted to take a moment to appreciate chat and the "it's whalers all the way down" comment. I quite like that.
The fabric of our society is forged in harpoon and blubber and sweaty fellas having a nice time on a boat covered in bones.
And I haven't really checked back in on whaling post Moby Dick, so for all I know, this is the state of affairs.
It's very scientific now, I'm told.
Oh yeah, I need to eat this whale for science. Is that how it works?
I think so. So, chapter 25, and another thing. I could just stick to facts about whaling in defence of it, fighting off all your incorrect opinions and stupid comments, but if I just stuck to the dry facts, then what kind of whaling fad would I be? A boring one.
Everyone knows that when they put the crown on a king or queen, they put a bit of oil on their heads, like they were salad. Nobody knows why, but maybe it's something to do with the same reasons you put oil on machinery and old cogs and such. It's to make them run well, which personally I would take offence to. If someone comes along and says my brains need some outside help from some oil because it's all rusty and slow, what's their problem? Why are they like this?
That is more or less a direct interpretation, right? Did we take liberties there?
Pretty much what he was getting at, I think.
Okay.
This is what happens as soon as we've set sail and we're like, oh, thank God, they're sailing now. And as soon as he sets sail, Ishmael just goes completely off the rails with this stuff.
Anyway, royals don't seem to mind. The only other people I've seen willingly oiling up their heads, and that's the only other people I've seen willingly oiling up their heads, and that's a certain type of older chap. And you know what? I don't think I've ever met a single person who uses hair oil who doesn't have something deeply wrong with him. I don't have the medical terminology or the research to back this up, but I'll just say, anyone who uses hair oil just seems to be, I don't know, groggy somehow. They just never seem to add up to much if you look at things holistically. It's just my opinion, no offense.
But anyway, the main thing I'm trying to get at here is that when it comes to oiling up a royal, what kind of oil are we talking about? Certainly it cannot be olive oil or even virgin olive oil, nor crude oil, nor castor oil, nor vegetable oil, nor linseed oil, nor lemon oil, nor sesame oil. Get excited, chat, it's a list. Nor cod liver oil, nor baby oil, or even oil-based plants. What then can it possibly be but sperm oil in its unmanufactured, unpolluted state? The sweetest of all oils. Sperm oil on your oil. It even rhymes.
Think of that, ye loyal Brits. We whalemen supply your kings and queens with stuff. And we're just clarifying that sperm oil is sperm whale oil. Just in case there were any perverts out there. Alright, and that's where we get to chapter 26, which is Knights and Squires part 1, because chapter 27, spoilers, is also Knights and Squires.
Knights and Squires. That's us saying part 1 though, just for clarity. Melville doesn't, he's such a mad lad that he can say chapter 26, Knights and Squires, and then chapter 27, you know what, Knights and Squires.
We'll do it again. So we're putting a part 1 in here. For now. Unless we can think of a better chapter title.
And everybody get their bingo cards out for which corporation
I think I can already see it, Andy.
Took their name from a character in Moby Dick.
Quaker Oats.
Yeah, it was. It's all those hunky Quaker captains.
Alright, I'll start us out.
Okay.
Chapter 26, Knights and Squires. The chief mate of the Pequod was Starbuck, a native of Nantucket and a Quaker by descent. He was a long, earnest man, and though born on an icy coast, seemed well adapted to endure hot latitudes, his flesh being hard as twice-baked biscuit. Transported to the Indies, his live blood would not spoil like bottled ale. Excuse me, Ishmael, what? What? What?
Well, that's right. Bottled ale doesn't spoil.
Okay, when he says live blood, does he mean the blood while it's inside of his body?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think anybody's does that.
He's saying...
Does he say that most people who go to the Indies, all their blood rots?
He's talking to landlubbers, bear in mind, so as far as they know, it does. And Melville can just gaslight them. He can be like, no, it does, mate.
Yeah, you can't go there. You can't go there. Only if you're someone like Starbuck or me.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, there's great stuff there. You can't go.
No, just for... Yeah, sorry. You're missing out. Okay, yeah, it wouldn't spoil like bottled ale. He must have been born in some time of general drought or famine, or upon one of those fast days for which his state is famous. Only some 30 arid summers had he seen. Those summers had dried up all his physical superfluousness. But this, his thinness, so to speak, seemed no more the token of wasting anxieties and cares than it seemed the indication of any bodily blight. It was merely the condensation of the man. He was by no means ill-looking, quite the contrary. His pure, tight skin was an excellent fit, and closely wrapped up in it, and embalmed with inner health and strength, like a revivified Egyptian. This Starbuck seems prepared to endure for long ages to come, and to endure always as now. Okay, I feel like we've got a semicolon. That might be a good place to stop. Because I can already tell, just having a quick scan ahead, he's going apeshit.
Yes. Do you want to clarify anything before you dive in?
Okay, let me just run through it. Okay, the chief mate, Starbuck, yep.
Yeah.
That's just who he is.
Yes.
That's fine.
He's got live blood.
He was very long. He's a long guy. And by long, I mean tall, because he doesn't slither like a snake. We've got to clarify.
He's a long, tall, thin boy.
Let's put that. A long, tall, thin man. Ernest.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Long, tall, thin guy.
But it's like a cool kind of thin.
Yeah. Okay.
He's like Adrian Brody thin.
Like Willem Dafoe. All ribs and fury.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, we can just take that first part. Was Starbuck. No, wait, because now we've been sullied by brands.
Mm-hmm. What, you want to change his name? His name was Tim Robbins. No, wait, not Tim Robbins. Tim Hortons. Who's Tim Robbins?
He's an actor.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good actor.
The first time I saw Andy Dufresne, he was a logo for a coffee brand.
Okay, the chief man of the Peacock.
Costa Coffee, says Emma. Let's change it to that.
Costa Coffee.
If we start, this is a dangerous present. If we start calling him Costa Coffee, that's going to be it for the rest of the book. And if we forget, it's going to get confusing.
Huh? Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Sponsorship opportunity for all you brands out there. Give us money and you too could be Starbuck. We'll Control F. We'll find and replace Starbuck to the highest bidder's business name.
Oh, this is genius. This is how we're going to get sponsorships.
Was a man called Starbuck. Alright. Yeah, and we'll keep in the part about him being from Nantucket and a Quaker. Starbuck. A Quaker. Born in or on Nantucket? Is Nantucket an island?
It's it is an island. We read TripAdvisor reviews where somebody said it's supposedly an island, and that's why everything's so expensive.
Yeah.
And it is an island, so yeah.
He was a long guy. Tall in that way. Not long. Along the ground. Like a snake. Long like a big skinny tall guy.
You got to get the bit in about him being like an Egyptian mummy.
Yeah.
Melville just can't get these mummies out of his head.
He loves mummies.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to get the twice baked biscuit.
Yes. And you know what? I actually felt really hungry at that line. I was like, man, I could go for a twice baked biscuit.
Starbucks twice baked biscuit.
Oh, don't say that. They probably, yeah. They haven't sponsored us.
Okay. Even though Nantucket was a cold place, Starbuck was the kind of guy who could thrive in a hot place too. With his skin all stretched, taut, and leathery. And leathery.
Nice.
Flesh like a twice baked biscuit. That should be a hyphen, so you know it's twice baked. I hate hyphens. Right. Transported? Yeah. Okay. Right, this is where it's starting to get mad.
Yeah.
He was the sort of fella that if you took him... Is it the West Indies or the Indies?
I think he just says Indies, does it?
Took him to the Indies.
Yeah,
His
Indies.
blood wouldn't go off inside his body like old ale. Is that what the line was?
Yeah. Well, no, wait. So ale doesn't go off. So, like bottled ale.
His blood would...
I think Melville was just hungry and wanted a drink when he wrote this.
Do you not think bottled
like,
ale would go off if you took it to the Indies?
No, bottled ale.
His live blood wouldn't spoil like bottled ale. I don't know enough about the ale bottling industry.
I think it'd be alright.
Yes, JT, this was the period of history where people ate
I know
mummies.
one thing, it'd be more alright than not bottled ale.
That's true. That's a good point. Alright. His blood wouldn't go up inside his body. He was like a big bottle of ale in that way. There we go.
I don't want to break up your flow, but there is a very good question raised and then answered in chat from JT.
Oh, yeah,
was this the period of history where people ate mummies? Yes, it was.
Baking them in those big ovens.
But wait, was this like? I think this is an actual thing, isn't it? Where people were like,
"No one ate mummies."
I think it'll be like a medicine thing to eat mummy. There was like mummy unwrapping parties.
No.
Yeah. Bear in mind, this is like we've got a procedure for handling artifacts.
Excuse me, what?
There was people who would have like
How is this real?
Yeah. Let's have a look. We're gonna have to. We have to address this.
What the fuck? You can't have a mummy unwrapping party. That's what you do when like a new series starts or something. You like a viewing party.
This final point here. Lastly, artists of the 17th and 19th centuries used ground-up mummies to tint a popular oil paint called Mummy Brown.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's that. I mean, you said you didn't want to throw off my flow, but
sorry.
I am derailed right now. Also, isn't this the ABBA musicals?
This is like overhearing a drunk hen party trying to talk about a movie they're gonna watch. This is Mamia.
Oh my god. Also, big fan of the word bitumen. Oh, it's asphalt. Big fan of the word asphalt too while we're at it. Okay, sorry, back to the whale story.
Okay, but thank you for that detail.
For that level of psychic damage I have been subjected to the Indies. His blood won't go, so it's like a big bottle of ale in that way. Okay, and then we should clarify here. You take someone without his kind of constitution out to the tropics. Pow! Rotten blood. Instantly. Sorry. It's really nice. You would have loved it. But it's not safe for people like you. I'll send you a postcard. Yeah. Alright. Oh, we are going through this slow, Andy.
Oh no, sorry. We can pick it up.
Okay. His live blood would not spoil it, but he must have been born in some kind of general drought or famine. Okay. Right. Skinny guy like that must have been born during... yeah. Just those words. That's not how you spell drought, is it? It's an A-U. Drought. 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 Drought.
G-H-T.
Drought. Drought or famine or had or big dieting craze. Because his mum can't have been eating very much to put such a stringy person on this earth. Yeah, okay. I do like the part about oh, it's the fast days for which his state is famous, and a fast day is basically a diet, so from what I understand. Only some 30 arid summers had he seen. Those summers had dried up all his physical superfluousness. He was 30 years old.
Yeah.
He was about 30.
And then it's really just reiterating his, like, all those summers they got rid of all of his excess.
It's like and over time...
It's like he's been doing insanity training.
Oh, what's insanity training?
It's where you just do, like, reps of, like, push-ups and calisthenics until muscle failure and just keep doing it while somebody shouts at you.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Would you rather do that or go to a Mamma Mia party?
I'd rather do that than go to a Mamma Mia party. Either
on Halloween, I'd go for a Mamma Mia party, though.
No, I don't. I think even then. And this is like, it's either the one where you unwrap and eat mummies, or the one where you have to watch Mamma Mia. Either of those, I think, is less appealing to me than having somebody yell at you while you do calisthenics.
Okay, third option. This came up the other day. Did I make this up, or is there a restaurant where everyone's naked and the waiters inject wine into their either dicks or bladders, and then they piss it into your cup? Is that real?
Why would I know if that's
I don't know! I talk to you about things! Did I mention this?
I feel it sounds familiar enough that I think you've mentioned it before, but I cannot. It's not like, oh yeah, I was there last night.
But yeah, if that was real, what would you and you had to pick one? I'd still do the exercise. No, I'd still do the mummy party.
Which one though? Are you watching Mamma Mia, or are you unwrapping and eating a mummy?
Oh.
Or both at the same time?
You have to do both.
That's everybody's favourite scene in Mamma Mia, is when Pierce Brosnan unwraps that mummy and just eats the whole thing. And it's really weird because, like, it doesn't cut. It's just like a solid 20-minute block.
They've cut that scene out from the aeroplane release.
Yeah, well, they pixelated the beginning and end of it and just cut out the rest. You see Pierce Brosnan with a spoon, but you don't
see him unwrap the mummy. You see him shoveling things into his mouth, but you don't know what it is. And it doesn't make sense when he keeps going, it's just the chewiest mummy. And then there's a sandstorm in the shape of a man's face. It chases him in a plane. Sorry. Okay. He was about 30.
And then it just cuts to him walking out, and Sean Bean's there, and he says, "I'm sorry, I got held up in the bathroom."
I need to either track down the aeroplane cut of Goldeneye, or I need to put that edit in myself because I need people to see how perfect it is. Okay. It was about 30, and it was like overtime, and it was like each year. Alright. Each year had come along and just evaporated off a bit more of his, what would you say, his unnecessaries? Superfluous is a big word. I don't know if we want to go that path.
Yeah, that's a good point. We want to simplify.
A bit more of his
excess gains.
just a bit more of him.
Yeah.
Each year, just a bit more of him every time, but not in a bad way. It was like he was being distilled down into his purest, strongest form. A potent Starbuck. Withered yet. What's a essential? Starbuck Essentials. Starbuck Essentials.
Again, we're not getting sponsored, but that probably
Not
is
yet.
a Starbucks.
Which supermarket chain is it that does essentials?
Is that Sainsbury's?
Best one I've seen, I think, was Tesco. On the discount booze aisle, you can get Tesco Everyday Value Rum.
Oh,
Just like it says every day on it.
I mean, that is the state that these sailors will be in.
True.
They're each drinking, I think it's something like 1.5 pints of rum a day. Mixed in with other stuff, but still.
Yeah. You might think he looked ill or something if you were less well versed in the mores of the human body than I am. Because actually, he was skinny and fit at the same time.
you are making this much longer than the original, just as a warning.
Okay.
If you continue at this pace, it's going to be a very long chapter.
Alright, we're moving on. Oh,
okay.
Christ, yeah, we've gone like nowhere. His skin...
That's like
oh my
long.
God, this was perfect as it was. Oh,
well.
Okay. Alright. Like a marathon runner. Like a revivified Egyptian.
Yes.
A mummy. Not just a normal Egyptian guy.
Well, at one point that mummy might have been a normal Egyptian guy.
Well, you would hope.
And then he's he never dreaming that one day he'd be laid out on a table being eaten by Pierce Brosnan in a single take.
I bet you Pierce Brosnan had filmed that scene for us.
Well,
I mean, if we could get in the room with him,
we can call
and we
his
had-
agent.
can we just pitch a project? Fuck it, Andy. Let's write a horror film or something about these mummy eating parties. I did not know they existed.
Oh, that's genius, actually. Yeah. And they unwrap it, and it's like, oh, we're gonna chow down on the mummy, but actually the mummy's gonna chow down on them.
Or-
They've unleashed something terrible.
Or we go the I want to call them Randall and Hopkirk, but it's not them. It's the guys who... Plunkett and McLean? No, they were the highwaymen. Burke and Hare?
Yeah.
We Burke and Hare it. Because mummies were probably quite rare to get hold of.
Mm-hmm.
So what if they were faking mummies?
Probably were.
And they just go and, like, abduct people and chisel them up a bit. Find a way of aging them.
Make them quaggy.
Quag them up. I think that idea's got legs. Legs which will sit heavy in the guts of Pierce Brosnan.
They just like slam them in the reverse Captain America machine.
I think it's good. I'd like it.
I think this is, it's got legs. This is a good idea. Nobody steal it.
Please. Who even remembers how mummy tastes? It's a good question.
Yeah, is it? I bet one of these companies, I bet Nestle or somebody knows. They've got like a little jar somewhere.
Qualified it somewhere,
yeah.
As usual, guys can have some meat on them. Not saying all Egyptians look like mummies. For clarity. Okay. This Starbuck seemed prepared to endure for long ages to come and to endure always, as now... Alright. I don't think we need that part. Bit? Yeah, you give me from 4, be it.
Okay. And just make a mental note as I go if we need any of this.
Okay.
Because I think he's going to reiterate.
I think he might.
For be it polar snow or torrid sun, like a patent chronometer, his interior vitality was warranted to do well in all climates. Looking into his eyes, you seemed to see there the yet lingering images of those thousand-fold perils he had calmly confronted through life. A staid, steadfast man, whose life for the most part was a telling pantomime of action and not a tame chapter of sounds. Yet, for all his hardy sobriety and fortitude, there were certain qualities in him which at times affected, and in some cases seemed well nigh to overbalance all the rest. Uncommonly conscientious for a seaman, and endued with a deep natural reverence, the wild, watery loneliness of his life did therefore strongly incline him to superstition, but to that sort of superstition which in some organizations seems rather to spring somehow from intelligence than from ignorance. Outward portents and inward presentiments were his, and if at times these things bent the welded iron of his soul, much more did his far-away domestic memories of his young Cape, wife, and child. I don't know why there's such a long pause between Cape and wife.
My 3 favourite things that I left at the house.
My young Cape, Derek, my wife, and my child. His young Cape, wife, and child tend to bend him still more from the original ruggedness of his nature and open him still further to those latent influences which, in some honest-hearted men, restrain the gush of daredevil daring, so often evinced by others in the more perilous vicissitudes of the fishery. "I will have no man in my boat," said Starbuck, "who is not afraid of a whale." By this he seemed to mean not only that the most reliable and useful courage is that which arises from the fair estimation of the encountered peril, but that an utterly fearless man is a far more dangerous comrade than a coward. Okay, so...
Alright, so that bit at the end we can keep.
Yeah. I mean, you can summarize this pretty quickly.
I'm gonna. Right.
He's a superstitious old soul. He loves his family and his cape. And he likes to go a whaling with a boat full of terrified men.
Most of all, he loves cowards. "I will have no man in my boat," said Starbuck, "who is not afraid of a whale." He'd say, yeah. He'd say, right. He's not afraid of all. By this, he seemed to mean... Right. By which he means that an utterly fearless man... Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That an utterly fearless man is far more dangerous comrade than a coward. Alright, locked. Let's speedrun this fucker.
Awesome. Did you get the thing about his Cape wife and his Cape child?
I did. We had... So we had the Egyptian guy. Superstitious too. Loves his family and his cape, but most of all he loves cowards.
Excellent. Okay, we did it. That was lightning fast.
Aye, aye, said Stubb, the second mate. Starbuck there is as careful a man as you'll find anywhere in this fishery. But we shall ere... Oh wait, no, he stopped talking. But we shall ere long see what that word careful precisely means when used by a man like Stubb, or almost any other whale hunter. Well...
Do you want to knock this on the head straight away?
Yeah. Right. Starbuck there is as careful a man as you'll find anywhere in this fishery. Is the sort of thing people would say about him. But, that changes some of its meaning when you learn what passes for careful among these whaling types. Right.
Excellent.
Oh, I just want to call out this very cool combination of words from early on. The vicissitudes of the fishery. I just think that's very nice to say. Vicissitudes. I don't know what a vicissitude is.
Vicissitudes. Perilous vicissitudes. Isn't it like the caprices with like the random... Let's have a look. I might be missed.
Only caprice I know was in Charlie's Angels Full Throttle.
Yeah, a change of circumstances or fortune, typically one that is unwelcome or unpleasant.
Okay.
I think capricious is tricksy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what
Can
I was
just come up and
thinking.
fuck you, and you never know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Vicissitudes of the Fishery would be the name of my pretentious whaling novel if I were writing one today.
Oh. Speaking of which, finished watching The North Water.
Is it a bit pretentious? Or is it a good one?
Would you like a minor spoiler?
Yeah, well, I don't know though. Does chat want a minor spoiler?
They're not going to watch it.
Wait, they're not going to watch this, or they're not going to watch the
One or the other. You got to draw a line in the sand now, people. But okay, without going into too much spoilery stuff, there's a running theme throughout it where your main boy has encounters and chats about polar bears. And at the end, he meets a polar bear in a zoo. And the polar bear comes up and sniffs him and then fucks off.
Oh.
That's it. And that's the ending. It could have ended like 2 episodes earlier. I didn't read the book, I watched the thing, but you know how it is. I don't know how it is.
I mean, usually they make things shorter in series as well. So imagine how long, imagine how many chapters that took in the book for that polar bear to sniff him.
Would have been a good while. Anyway,
oh, excellent suggestion from Emma. Why don't we make Vicissitudes, the Fisheries, the chapter title?
Well, because we're learning all about Starbuck. We're not learning about the vicissitudinous fishery. This is just him going off on one about a tall man.
But is Knights and Squires anything about Starbuck as well, do we think?
We're gonna find. I think Stubbs and what's his name? Stubbs and Starbuck. I think they might be the knights and the squires.
Well,
But
that's good
we'll
reading.
see when we get to the end of it, and the end of the next chapter. We'll see which one's the OG knights and squires, and the other one has to have its name changed.
Okay.
Yeah?
That sounds good to me.
Alright.
Right, should I go or should you?
I don't know. You go.
I can go. Starbuck was no crusader after perils. In him, courage was not a sentiment, but a thing simply useful to him, and always at hand upon all mortally practical occasions. Besides, he thought perhaps that in this business of whaling, courage was one of the great staple outfits of the ship, like her beef and her bread, and not to be foolishly wasted. Wherefore he had no fancy for lowering for whales after sundown, nor for persisting in fighting a fish that too much persisted in fighting him. For, thought Starbuck, I am here in this critical ocean to kill whales for my living, and not to be killed by them for theirs. And that, wait, they don't make a living out of killing you, Starbuck. And that hundreds of men had been so killed, Starbuck well knew. What doom was his father's? Where in the bottomless depths could he find the torn limbs of his brother? So he's hanging there. That's the end of the paragraph.
Do we ever find out?
That's at the very end of Moby Dick. It's like, here are the torn limbs of Starbuck's brothers.
Just gives you coordinates. It's geocaching.
Yeah.
Still, Starbuck was the kind of guy who would treat bravery the same way he'd treat a nice bit of beef and bread. He'd not go overboard with it. Balanced diet and all that. He'd be the kind of guy who thinks, I'm in this critical ocean to kill whales for my living, not to be killed by them for theirs. He was also... Perhaps
he knew a lot of people have been killed by whales.
Yeah. This would be the number of people he knew who had been killed by whales, which was lots. Right.
Excellent.
Okay. With memories like these in him, and moreover given to a certain superstitiousness, as has been said, the courage of this Starbuck, which could nevertheless still flourish, must indeed have been extreme. But it was not in reasonable nature that a man so organized and with such terrible experiences and remembrances as he had, it was not in nature that these things should fail in latently engendering an element in him which under suitable circumstances would break out from its confinement and burn all his courage up, and brave as he might be, it was that sort of bravery, chiefly visible in some intrepid men, which, while generally abiding firm in the conflict with seas, or winds, or whales, or any of the ordinary irrational horrors of the world, yet cannot withstand these more terrific, because more spiritual terrors, which sometimes menace you from the concentrating brow of an enraged and mighty man. Andy?
Yes.
What?
It's almost like Melville is saying, like, he's absolutely fine with anything normal, but if there was something like out of the normal, say some kind of like a supernatural battle between a demonic captain and a gigantic white whale,
you think he'd be a bit spooked?
Specifically in those circumstances, Starbuck might be like, I don't know about this.
All right, okay. I think I know what you're getting at there, Andy, because I think that might be what's coming up later on in Moby Dick. So, should we foreshadow this as heavily as possible?
I think so. It actually hadn't occurred to me until now, because I can remember the chapter that it's foreshadowing it. It hadn't occurred to me until now that it is this blatantly foreshadowed. But yeah.
So, on the whole, a generally pretty sensible man. But Ishmael, didn't you say he was superstitious? You might whine. And to that I say... Well, we don't need to put that in quote, Max is already saying it. And to that I say... Yes. Sensible in sensible times. But in times that got a little bit spooky, a little bit out of the ordinary, a little bit crazy, well then, Starbucks, not likely to be sensible at all. Alright, and then we're going for the hard read here. You put guy like Starbuck up against, and how did you describe it? Was it a demonic captain or a demonic whale?
I said demonic captain, and we need to change it subtly because I said like a gigantic white whale, but I think you should substitute it for a different large creature, and maybe change it to another kind of unusual colouring. It's maybe not as obvious.
Well, I mean, this is the after the fact story, so Ishmael knows it's coming. If he wants to foreshadow it, he can foreshadow it. Oversized, weird coloured sea monster and a demonic captain who yells about Satan and death all the time. All the time. And you're going to see just how unsensible a man like Starbuck can get. Wah!
Nice. That's good foreshadowing.
Yeah. Okay. 2 paras.
Alright, I've got this one. But were the coming narrative to reveal in any instance the complete abasement of poor Starbuck's fortitude, yes, might I have the heart to write it, for it is a thing most sorrowful, nay shocking, to expose the fall of valour in the soul. Men may seem detestable as joint stock companies and nations, knaves, fools, and murderers there may be. Men may have mean and meagre faces, but man in the ideal is so noble and so sparkling, such a grand and glowing creature, that over any ignominious blemish in him, all his fellows should run to throw their costliest robes, or their favourite capes, I guess. That immaculate manliness we feel within ourselves, so far within us, that it remains intact, though all the outer character seem gone, bleeds with keenest anguish at the undraped spectacle of a valour-ruined man. Nor can piety itself at such a shameful sight completely stifle her upbraidings against the permitting stars. But this august dignity I treat of is not the dignity of kings and robes, but that abounding dignity which has no robed investiture. Thou shalt see it shining in the arm that wields a pick or drives a spike, that democratic dignity which, on all hands, radiates without end from God himself, the great God absolute, the centre and circumference of all democracy, his omnipresence, our divine equality.
Do we need this?
I mean, at most he's saying, well, yeah, I don't know, maybe we don't need it. In essence, it's just like, you don't really like picking on somebody when they've, had a bit of a bad time of it.
Things might be coming up here. Things might be coming up here, which could paint Starbuck in a bad light. And I just want you to know that I respect him and I take no joy in reporting on his upcoming loss of dignity and sanity. Or sanity. Does that cover it?
Oh,
Is that more or less what it's getting at?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
And sorry.
No, you go. I was about to move on.
No, you know what? We can move on. I think that's fine.
Okay, because it was just a lot of wanky stuff about the spirit of man, and we've all listened to Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds musical, so we all know about the spirit of man.
He's getting a bit like preachy, but I think in a good way, where he's like, you don't just save this kind of respect for kings and all that stuff. It's for normal people, because everybody's equal.
I do also very much enjoy the part where he says, men may seem as detestable as joint stock companies and nations.
Yeah, I think he's saying as nations and large companies, they seem detestable. Not they seem detestable as these
I hate
things.
this guy as much as I hate the banking industry.
And countries.
Yeah!
It's like a dark version of John Lennon's Imagine. And another thing I hate.
Okay, let's move on then.
Oh wait, there is a good comment from chat and large coffee companies.
It's true.
Okay.
If then to meanest mariners and renegades and castaways I shall hereafter ascribe high qualities, though dark, weave round them tragic graces, even if even the most mournful, perchance the most abased among them all, shall at times lift himself to the exalted mounts. If I shall touch that workman's arm with some ethereal light, if I shall spread a rainbow over his disastrous set of sun, then against all mortal critics bear me out in it. Thou just spirit of equality, which hast spread one royal mantle of humanity over all my kind, bear me out in it, thou great democratic God, who didst not refuse the Swart convict. Who's the Swart convict?
I guess it's Bunyan.
Why do I know the name Paul Bunyan? Was he a serial killer?
Ted Bundy. He might have been. Paul Bunyan's the mythical lumberjack. Who, yeah, who may well have, one of the myths may have been that he murdered a lot of people. I think this might be referring to John Bunyan, who wrote Pilgrim's Progress, but Paul Bunyan I like.
What the fuck is happening?
Do you want to look up Paul Bunyan?
I'm looking at Paul Bunyan.
He's just going to throw you off as much as Mamiya.
I fucking hope not. Paul Bunyan. Oh, he's this guy.
Yeah.
He's a giant lumberjack.
You know, Paul Bunyan, the giant lumberjack who goes around with the blue ox.
Of course. Okay. I don't think he's talking about that. Bunyan, the pale poetic pearl, thou who didst clothe with doubly hammered leaves of finest gold the stumped and paupered arm of old Cervantes, thou who didst pick up Andrew Jackson from the pebbles, who didst hurl him upon a war horse, who didst thunder him higher than a throne, thou who in all thy mighty earthly marchings ever cullest thy selectest champions from the kingly commons, bear me out in it! Oh, God! Gotta be honest, I have no idea what was happening in that chapter. That paragraph.
It's a classic Melville ending. We're going to reach for ideas beyond comprehension. But this idea, I think he's getting at the idea that, like, again, it's this idea that, you know, special people aren't kings and stuff. if you believe in equality and the idea of this power shared amongst humanity, then actually the greatest people just come from humble beginnings, like John Bunyan, I would guess, or poor Bunyan with the giant blue.
No one knows who any of these Bunyans are. We're playing it safe. We're Tom Cruise level or above. We're not. Gotta be Tom Cruise level to get referenced.
Me and Jess, we spent our Halloween dinner watching the first half of Interview with a Vampire with Tom Cruise.
Ah, yes.
And we just got to the bit where Tom Cruise gets eaten by alligators and then comes back and gets set on fire. And we both looked at each other and were like, is that a good point to start watching? And we're like, yeah. So, I'll probably never know how the rest of the movie goes, but that's the canonical
That was
ending.
the ending.
That's the ending for me.
Starbuck was a humble, regular guy, and I respect any regular, humble guy more than I'll ever respect a king or a bank. That's what I...
Yes, nice.
Okay, I think we've got it.
Nail on the head.
Okay, and with that, I guess we should close it out because it's school night.
Yeah. Have you done all your homework for tomorrow?
Absolutely not. No.
No, me neither.
No. Horrible existence. All right. So with that, I'll see you all in a bit. Thanks for watching. I promise we'll be better next week.
I think that was one of our best. I think that was great. We learned a lot of things. We got shocked by things.
I've been completely sidetracked by Mamma Mia ever since.
Yeah. Well, what could be better for Halloween
than an actual wait, there it is. An actual Halloween scare trip.
Yeah. Something that'll actually give you nightmares.
Learning about bitumen from the Dead Sea.
Mm-hmm.
And dead bitches. Sorry, I tried to make something work with bitumen because it's a funny name. Oh, look at this guy. He doesn't want to be there. Oh, Jesus. I need more pictures. I don't think they'll have any more pictures. Alright, cool. Anyway,
okay.
We'll see you probably next weekend. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Alright. Bye.
Bye.
End.